Today, we're doing something a little different. We're skipping the traditional agenda and jumping right into a fascinating micro-behavior that, honestly, almost all of us share without even realizing it. We're looking at the normalization of AI infrastructure. Now, some folks are calling this a self-inflicted wound of modern society, while others see it as our next great evolution. So get ready, because this is absolutely going to change how you view your daily routines.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever found yourself apologizing to a chatbot? Or, maybe you've typed out a quick thank you after it gave you a helpful recipe or fixed a bug in your code. Think about your own habits for a second. Every single day, literally millions of people speak to AI systems using language that was once reserved entirely for human beings. We ask them emotional questions. We seek reassurance, advice, companionship, even validation. And in return, the machine responds with this polished, endlessly available patience.
And that brings up a really powerful observation from our source material. One man's crutch is another man's handicap. The central theme we need to wrap our heads around here is that the most powerful illusion of artificial intelligence, especially as we look ahead to 2026, it isn't the intelligence itself, it's the conversation. Think about it. What happens when people start addressing AI not just as software, but as a social presence? This shift isn't just a technological upgrade, it is profoundly psychological. It's cultural. It's really about how our very human communication habits are gradually normalizing the treatment of AI as if it were a living person. So, moving to Section 1, how communication shapes authority, specifically going from broadcasting to conversing. Now, why does this shift actually matter? Well, for centuries, the dominant mode of communication has dictated where societal authority lies. And you can trace exactly how this progression has worked. Newspapers, right? They shaped public opinion. Then radio came along and shaped wartime morale. After that, television shaped the political image. And more recently, we all know social media completely shaped our attention spans and behavioral patterns. But AI represents a massive leap. Unlike TV or newspapers, which, just broadcast information at you, AI converses with you. It creates this incredibly powerful, intimate sensation of actually being heard. To really understand why feeling heard is so powerful, we have to look at a concept called parasocial interaction. Researchers have documented this phenomenon for a long time. It's basically where humans form emotional attachments to media personalities or perceived social entities. We do this completely naturally. But AI systems take this psychological effect and turn the dial all the way up to 11. Why? Because unlike a character on your favorite TV show, AI responds directly and personally to you.
And this brilliantly illustrates the central paradox we are living in right now. Intellectually, sure, people know AI is not human. We all know it's just computational prediction operating at massive scale. But emotionally, the very structure of a dialogue activates our deep, hardwired social instincts. The more natural the language becomes, the easier it is for our brains to just kind of forget that we are interacting with software.
Which leads us right into Section 2, the rise of personalized dependency and what happens when convenience becomes habit.
You see, communication shapes trust, and trust, in turn, shapes our behavior. Eventually, that behavior shapes markets, politics, our identity, and our social norms. AI systems are now operating continuously inside that chain, creating a very specific loop. Step 1 is convenience. AI answers your questions instantly and removes all the friction from decision-making. Then comes Step 2, habit. It actually reduces loneliness through this constant responsiveness and boosts our daily productivity. But over time, that habit slowly morphs into Step 3, dependency. Historically, our dependency on communication systems like newspapers or search engines was collective. But AI introduces something completely new to the table, a deeply personalized dependency.
I mean, just think about what an AI assistant learns about you over time. It learns your tone and your communication style. It learns your personal preferences, your unique work habits. It even picks up on your anxieties and your creative patterns. At this point, the relationship looks less and less like you're just using a piece of software and way more like continuous, intimate human interaction.
All right, that brings us to Section 3, commercial and journalistic impacts, the new gateway to trust. The commercial implications here are, quite frankly, absolutely enormous. If communication is the gateway to trust, conversational AI may very well become the most powerful marketing infrastructure ever created in human history. Think about it. It won't just influence what we buy or what we watch. It might eventually influence how we think through our own problems. This is exactly why this subject increasingly belongs in mass communication and journalism studies. Historically, journalism examined things like gatekeeping, framing, audience psychology, persuasion, and public trust.
Well, AI intersects with every single one of those areas simultaneously. It summarizes the news and generates headlines. It simulates empathy and adapts its tone based on audience psychology. It can even produce tailored political persuasion. And it alters public trust by personalizing messaging in real time.
So the crucial point here is this massive, fundamental shift in the structure of influence itself. In older media systems, one message reached millions of people. But with AI systems, millions of people receive individualized messages that are shaped specifically and uniquely for them. That completely and totally transforms how influence operates in our society.
Let's pull back the curtain a little bit in Section 4, the intentional design of AI and how companies are engineering social legitimacy. There is a subtle cultural normalization happening right beneath the surface, and it actually starts with the words we choose, because language shapes perception. When we casually refer to an AI using pronouns like he or she, or when we call it our friend, our assistant, or someone who understands me, we are unconsciously assigning social legitimacy to software. Now, just to be totally clear, this does not mean the AI is sentient, not at all, but it absolutely demonstrates how communication alters our emotional framing of the machine. Now, what's really interesting about this is that modern AI companies understand this dynamic perfectly, and they use intentional design choices to leverage it. They give them human-like names, they add distinct voices and personalities, they build in conversational memories so it remembers you from yesterday, they add emotional tone, humor, and empathy simulations. None of this is an accident. These features are highly intentional, designed to reduce your natural resistance and deeply integrate into your daily routines. Because a machine that feels socially approachable, well, it's trusted more, it's used more frequently, and it just becomes a natural part of your life. And that deep integration brings us to Section 5, our final core topic, reshaping human behavior, looking at the risks of outsourced thinking. We really have to look at this trust impartially because it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, the benefits are undeniable, right? AI is an incredible tool. It assists learning, it boosts creativity, improves accessibility, and literally skyrockets productivity. But on the flip side, the risks are highly significant. Overdependence might actually weaken our independent reasoning. If we outsource too much of our critical thinking to automated systems, it can degrade authentic behavioral trust online and totally change how we perceive authenticity itself. Let's move on and see how this builds to the deepest question posed in our source material. You see, the biggest issue might not actually be whether AI becomes human-like. The deeper question is this: are humans gradually adapting ourselves to communicate with machines in ways that reshape human behavior itself? We are zooming all the way out here to look at the massive, civilizational impact of these tools. Communication has always been civilization's invisible architecture, hasn't it? And AI is entering it now, not as a passive medium, but as an active conversational participant. The text puts it brilliantly, saying, "The true power of AI may not come from intelligence alone. The power may come from the authority humanity grants it through daily communication, one conversation at a time." It is just an absolutely fascinating shift to witness. If you want to visualize how this conversational revolution is really unfolding, the source material specifically recommends checking out the brilliant Reels on AI by Joseph Gordon-Levitt over on Instagram. You can find him at the handle @HitRecordJoe. It's a fantastic curated resource to explore this whole shift further. But as you do, I want to leave you with one final question to chew on. The next time you open an app and say thank you to machine, are you just using a tool, or are you slowly changing what it means to be human? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.